I'm seeing this person and being exposed to him, he reminds me of how I was when I was young and just got saved. Nothing was impossible. I could pray any prayer. I could believe God for anything. But only take just a little while. Just a little while, just a little bit of time before Satan begins to plug holes into your spirit. Plug holes into your faith and cause you not to believe like you did. Cause you not to see things like you did. Take me back, Lord, to the place where I first received you. The joy, the love, the peace, the faith, the power, all of it. We lose our joy. When Satan pokes a hole in our spirit, we lose our joy. You see, David, if you go to Psalm 51, if you go to Psalm 51, where I'm going right now, Psalm 51, David, he became sick. He became sick of his situation. We just told the story. David went and he had relationship with Bathsheba. He was where he shouldn't have been. He was doing something he should not have done. And he had a personal revival. If we don't see the need, we won't call out to God. We have to become sick of ourselves. David got sick of himself. He got sick of his sin. He got sick and tired of the way he was living. He got sick and tired of having no joy. And in verse number 1, Psalm 51, he says, have mercy on me. He got sorry. He was sorry. You have to understand, David had been walking around this condition for at least a year. Have you ever walked around with sin in your life? Unconfessed sin? Sin that you're hiding? Something that you don't want anybody or anyone to know anything about, and you just hold that thing, you harbor that thing inside of you? You know how that feels to hide sin from people? Not so much talking about God, he already knows. But to walk around holding sin on the inside. David had been walking around in this situation for at least a year. And it says, finally, he was sick of it. He said, have mercy on me, O God, according to your steadfast love. He was convicted. He was convicted. His sin got the better of him. He finally saw, and he saw from the beginning, he knew he was wrong. And it says here in verse number 2, wash me thoroughly from my iniquity. He uses 3 words in 3 different verses to talk about his sin. First he talks about transgression, then he talks about iniquity, then he talks about sin. Transgression talks about stepping over the line. He says, Lord, I know I stepped over the line. Lord, I know I went too far. I went too far. Then he talks about the iniquity. The iniquity is talking about the guilt. Lord, I know how I feel. Lord, I feel bad. Lord, I know I'm guilty. And then he talks about the sin. Lord, I know you wanted me to do this, but Lord, I have missed the mark. I missed the mark. So he's telling God, in every aspect, I have sinned against you and done wrong. Until we realize that we have sinned against God in every way imaginable, you won't get the blessing and you won't get the help from God that you need. He was sick of being weak. He was sick of being weak. It says here in verse number 12, he says, uphold me. Uphold me. Lift me up. I'm weak. I'm weak. Lift me up. Uphold me with your spirit. He said, restore to me the joy. He was sick of no joy. A Christian without no joy is like a car with no gas. No joy. How do you live? How do you perform? How do you go through your Christian life with no joy? You become a miserable, bitter, nasty, angry, disgusting Christian person. Christian person can be all those things? Yeah. A Christian person can be all those things. Without the joy of the Lord, which is your strength, you become all of those things and more. And more. Because You're miserable. And you're telling everybody how miserable you are. You're telling everybody how this is wrong and that's wrong and this is the matter and that's the matter. And the reason why you tell everybody else because misery loves company. Misery doesn't want to be miserable by themselves. Misery. So David had to seek personal revival. He wanted to plug up the holes that the enemy had plugged into him. He wanted to plug up the holes that he had allowed the enemy to push into him. You see, 2 Chronicles 7:14. If my people, it's conditional. Once again, we think this verse we're talking that God is once again talking about those who don't know Jesus. If you don't know Jesus, come and my people, what you're called. Sounds good. But who is he speaking to in that verse? He's speaking to you and me. Those of us who know Jesus. He's saying if, and it's a big if. The big if. If. That means you don't have to, you don't want to. That means it's an option. That means you have a choice. If, and only if, my people, Christian folk, my people, who are called by my name, shall do what? Get low. Get low. If my people, if the ones who are called by my name, if the ones who call upon my name, if the ones who say they know me, if the ones who say they love me, if my people will humble, get low, understand, recognize, see your need. I repeat, if you don't see the need, you won't call out for help. You won't call out. You'll get caught up in every little thing. And you'll go through all the motions. You'll go through the motions. And everybody will think that everything is fine. And everyone will think that everything is good. But you know, something's not right. Because you need to get low. Get low. If my people, if my Christian people who call upon my name, and hopefully they're not called upon my name and their hearts are not far from me. If my people call upon my name will humble themselves and pray. Pray! Don't be too proud to pray. Humble yourself. Lord, I need you. I don't know about her. I don't know about him, but I need you. And I don't want to go through the motions anymore. I don't want to act like I am something that I'm not. I'm going to humble myself and pray. Pray. And seek his face. Seek his face. Seek the intimate fellowship with him. Seek his face. It goes a step beyond prayer. It's more than prayer. It's reaching out. Lord, I want you more than anything else. More than anyone else. I want you. I want fellowship. I want closeness. I want connection. I need you. Seek his face. And probably the most difficult one of all that he asks his people to do. His people who call his name, who sing about him, who praise his name, who shout. He says to his own people who say they love him, who say they hunger for him. He says, turn from your wicked ways. That's hard to admit. Lord, I'm your child. Lord, I love you. Lord, I'm with you all the time. You want me to turn from my wicked ways? What is there about me that's so wicked? And when we start to ask that question, am I that bad? When you start to say, am I that bad? You that bad.